Welcome to the International Women's Day webinar conducted by the Department of Clinical Psychology of Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, Kochi. This webinar is in association with Kerala State.
Hello.
Ms. Neera ma'am. Sorry about that. So this webinar is in association with Kerala State Women's Development Corporation and SAKI, a non-governmental and non-profit organization that works towards gender justice practices. My name is Aruna and I'll be your compere for the day. Today represents a celebration for women all around the world. Ladies who have dared to dream big ever since they were little girls. For the diversity and talents that lie within a feminine heart, for the courage and determination that prevents us from falling apart. The theme for International Women's Day 2022 is Break the Bias. Gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. This theme calls on people to work towards a world that is equitable, inclusive, and free from bias and discrimination. To start off, I would like to invite Ms. Shruti Annie Vincent, Assistant Professor of the Department of Clinical Psychology, AIIMS, for the welcome address.
Thank you, Aruna. So I think every year, as part of International Women's Day, a theme is brought out to us every year. And this year, it basically strives for equality, break the bias. I think we always have discussions. I think we had a discussion yesterday. We had today discussions on WhatsApp groups where the need for an International Women's Day is not for, pointing out whether that one gender is above the other, but rather to focus on bringing about the importance of equality amongst the both genders. And how International Women's Day seeks to do that is by bringing about women's achievements, the various arenas in life that we hold power into focus, which is why International Women's Day has to be celebrated and, just like any other day, and it should be commemorated because women's achievements should also be appreciated. And today's webinar focuses just to do that by bringing, we bring focus to two organizations that would speak about the different kinds of work that is done in women empowerment, the various programs, schemes, and the kind of work done by these organizations are nothing short of extraordinary, because it is very imperative in bringing about the development of the nation as well. So I'd like to start off this webinar by welcoming our principal, Dr. Colonel Vishal Marwaha, to the webinar. I'd also like to welcome our speakers for the day, Shrimati Bindu VC, who's the Managing Director at Kerala State Women's Development Corporation, Government of Kerala, and Dr. Nina Joseph of SAKI, a non-governmental organization that is involved in a lot of gender-based practices. I'd also like to welcome my HOD, the HOD of the Department of Clinical Psychology, Dr. Geetanjali Natarajan also. She has been a strong force in helping us to organize this webinar. I'd also like to welcome my fellow colleagues and faculty at the Department of Clinical Psychology, my students here. And I also extend a hearty welcome to all of the participants who has joined us for this seminar today. I know we celebrate International Women's Day on 8th of March, but every day should be celebrated, I think, as a Women's Day. So yeah, on to you, Aruna. You can start off the program.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Colonel Vishal Marwaha, Principal of Amrita School of Medicine, Kochi, for the inaugural address.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As part of the International Women's Day 2022, 2022, the Department of Clinical Psychology, Amrita Institute of Medical Science is organizing this webinar in association with Kerala State Women's Development Corporation and Sakhi, a non-governmental, non-profit organization that works towards gender justice practices. The webinar will highlight the inspiring work done at these organizations for the empowerment of women and society. As we are aware that, this time the theme is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. I must really congratulate the organizing committee for, making all the efforts, and especially the HOD and Shruti Vincent. She has taken a lot of, running around, and she's been, she met me also. I saw the passion with which she worked. So that's very good. And also the MC, I must say, the enthusiasm is visible. So I'm very happy. And we have very eminent speakers today. And Srimati Bindu VC, Dr. Nina Joseph, and with very eminent, functionaries and faculty. I'm very sure this will be a grand success. Regarding, my own personal views, I think basically as I, like I was two daughters. So when I had one brother. I have one brother. So as a child, when I grew up, my family, like the mother was one mother and then father, two brothers. So it was 1:3. Now I am having two daughters, so it is 1:3. So I think, it's the balances for us to create actually. And for us to, I am concerned, I always believe everybody should get equal opportunity. We have to, empower, whether it is male or female, everybody should get equal opportunity. And from the defense point of view, defense services, like I like to tell you that from the armed forces point of view, now National Defense Academy is also taking, the girls. Earlier Officers Training Academy was taking. So now the only bastion left in the armed forces is the combat forces. That is the armored corps, the infantry. That's otherwise the ladies are there in every corps, and we have worked with them and seen that they are doing exceedingly well. And it's not about just leading the contingent in the 26th January. That is a representative. But when you work with the people, you realize that their capability, performance is of very high order, and also it also has a element of when you work with them, you get the it makes you find they look at things, everybody has his own viewpoint. I think that's very important, and that I think comes out very well. So like if you are to choose, like I'll say a simple thing like mentor mentee, like now when we choose, what happens, there are certain things boys would be comfortable talking to a male faculty, and girls will have their own comfort zone with the lady. Somewhere you need that, but at the same time you got to be able to address the issue, and that's something which is very important. Otherwise, I personally feel that Kerala definitely is a, when you come and I have been traveled most of the country. I have stayed in many states in India in my service, and earlier because my father was in the army, so we moved around. Most of you find that Kerala is an example where the women are very in the workforce, and they are doing very well actually, highly educated. All those things are the are an advantage which when you go to many parts of the country, it may not be that balance is not necessarily there. There are a lot of bias is there. I personally believe that there is a element of bias in many places. I remember I used to, when I was in service, you'll find that they will put their daughter in a government school, but they'll put their son in a private school. I used to always tell them, why are you doing this? So they'll say, sir, why do you think that your son will do well in a private school? Why do you want to, you give the same opportunity, your daughter will do better. So, we have over the years, these things are there, and there is this rational sort of thought process is not necessarily there in the whole country. I feel in that regard, Kerala has a very, it's a leading light, I think, for the country. So Thank you very much and wish you all grand success in this conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your ever-encouraging words and support. Thank you. Our first speaker for the day is Srimati Bindu BC, the Managing Director of the Kerala State Women's Development Corporation, Department of Social Justice, Government of Kerala. With a master's in social work, an MBA, and a graduate in law, she has over 26 years of experience working in public sector undertakings like Travancore Titanium Products Limited, the KMML, and many more. Her areas of expertise include human resource development, industrial relations, corporate social responsibility, and public health research and training. After joining as the MD of the corporation, a significant hike in revenue and turnover was witnessed. They achieved their record loan disbursement and started multiple path-taking projects. Ma'am, I welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you for your nice words. Honorable Principal, respected dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. Actually, I feel honored to be here with you today to take part in the International Women's Day celebrations organized by a very much renowned medical institutes of Kerala. I would like to appreciate and congratulate the decision you have taken to celebrate Women's Day, which means you have decided to commemorate the achievements of women, raise awareness against gender bias, and take action for equality. It's a day on which the historical, political, and cultural accomplishments of women are celebrated globally. Actually, with regard to the IWD or International Women's Day, I would like to give some or tell about certain historical milestones. Actually, the seeding for the day started way back in 1908, when a large group of women, to say around 15,000 women, held a march in New York City, demanding better wages, lesser working hours, and the right to vote. That means this International Women's Day has a history of political or labor movement or women movement. That means, consequent on many such labor and women movements and struggles, Women's Day celebrations also became prevalent in many of the socialist or communist countries in the world, but on different days, but by different countries. Later in the year 1975, which was celebrated as the International Women's Year, the UN adopted 8th March to celebrate the International Women's Day every year. The theme for this year's IWD is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. You must be well aware that the climate crisis and gender inequality are two of the core issues in the heart of UN Sustainable Development Goals. The global effort to advance gender equality and tackle climate change at the same time is one of the greatest challenges to humanity in the 21st century. Figures indicate 80% of people displaced by climate change and climate-related disasters are women and girls, while 70% of the 1.3 billion people living in conditions of poverty are women. Sustainability and gender equality efforts globally must go hand in hand. In the wake of the Ukraine war, we need to understand that women and girls experience the greatest impacts of the same as it amplifies existing gender inequalities, leads to increased gender violence, and puts women's lives and livelihoods at risk. If that's what I wanted to tell you about the IWD and the need for observing the day, now it's time for me to discuss KSWD's role in helping out or equipping I would use the word equipping the women of lower socioeconomic strata of the state. KSWDC visualizes a just and equal society where women enjoy economic independence like men to realize their dreams. To bring about such a transformation in the status of women in Kerala, KSWDC focuses on promoting activities that recognize the aspiration of young women for establishing their position in society. Further, with all its projects and implementation, it wishes to promote gender relations based on equity and mutual respect. As I have mentioned earlier, Kerala State Women's Development Corporation promotes and facilitates self-employment among the women of Kerala. So we promote women entrepreneurship by disbursing soft loans. That means loans with a lower interest rate and with a simple ways to obtain it. No? Soft loans at the annual rate, interest rate at 6%. The corporation also takes up the responsibility of creating and implementing projects that will facilitate the overall development of women in society. We believe that the empowerment of women through education, training, and the creation of vocational opportunities is essential for the sustained growth and empowerment of the women of Kerala. KSWDC has disbursed self-employment loans worth 720 crores, benefiting more than 50,000 women in the state. Besides that, we help aspiring young girls to have professional education by extending educational loans with a low interest rate ranging from 3 to 3.5% annual interest. In the financial year 2021, the corporation also launched a loan scheme for the transgender community, transgender persons, to help them become self-reliant through self-employment. This scheme is being implemented with funding support from the Directorate of Social Justice, Government of Kerala. We run the 181 Women Helpline. You must be familiar with that. Mitra, we call it Mitra for the Government of Kerala. It was launched in 2017 and has served more than 125,000 callers to date. As an extension of such services for women in distress, we have started a gender sensitization program named Bodhyam for the police personnel of the state. It is aimed at enhancing the capability of the force in handling gender violence and also to help and equip them to approach the issues of women, children, and sexual minorities with enhanced empathy. Menstrual hygiene management scheme is another scheme, which is popularly known as CHIPAT. It's one of the prestigious projects of KSWDC. Menstrual hygiene is a vital aspect of women's health. Proper awareness of menstrual hygiene and reproductive rights is an essential step towards empowering girls and women. Hence, we are supplying high-quality sanitary pads, storage facility, that is steel cupboards for pads, and napkin destroyers, the funding support from local self-governments to the schoolgirls of the state. Corporation also undertakes information dissemination regarding menstrual hygiene and reproductive health among adults and girls under the scheme. Asia's first women finishing school is run by KSWDC. REACH, or Resource Enhancement Academy for Career Heights, which professionally grooms women from all strata of society and prepares them for new generation employment challenges. We impart various skilling programs to girls under REACH to make them job ready. REACH has recently devised a finishing program. I think you people must be interested in that. A finishing program for nurses seeking employment abroad. It is called Advanced Skill Enhancement Program for Nurses, or ASAPIN. The program is being implemented in collaboration with the CMD and ODEPC. ASAPIN is a comprehensive 6-month finishing course for nurses that encompasses language proficiency training, technical skilling or technical refreshment program, IT skills, soft skills, and foreign language training and observership. Overseas placement is also facilitated on successful completion of the program. 130 nurses have so far enrolled for the course, and a few have already secured overseas employment in this short duration. We are planning to develop such finishing and placement programs in other areas of healthcare sector as well. Another notable project is Vanamitra, the skill enhancement project for tribal women. Piloting the project at Mudugadu Settlement Colony in Kozhikode enabled around 120 tribal families financially self-reliant. We will be replicating the project in 2 more sites in Wayanad. Amrita Institute can associate with the Women's Cell project of KSWDC. Presently, there are women's cells in 96 colleges in the state. Women's cells aim at organizing and transforming young women into a vibrant collective by focusing on their strength and skill sets and enabling them to realize their true potential. The main objective of a women's cell is to make the youth aware of the issues involved in their society and to equip them with adequate management skills to handle day-to-day affairs. Programs include gender awareness training, premarital counseling, open forum, cultural programs, manuscript publishing, etc., etc. Women's cells aim to instigate change at the collegiate level and to drive students as catalysts in transforming Kerala into a safe and secure state for women, children, and sexual minorities. So let me conclude here by reminding you that I have depicted the schemes of KSWDC alone, and there are so many women development schemes under various other wings of the government of Kerala and also under government of India. When you students, when you serve the community, you could be of help to many of the poor women you meet by directing them to 181 or KSWDC or such other government schemes to help and support them to be self-reliant. So, dear students, boys and girls sitting over there, please do remember that women's rights are human rights. Of course, we are much better off than our earlier generations, but still we have miles to go on this difficult path, holding hands in friendship and acting together for a gender justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that informative talk. The floor is open to some questions. I think we already have one now. Ma'am, there is a question. Shall I read it out?
Okay, please. And I think my project officer will be here to answer your questions. May you leave for a while?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Miss Ali, are you there? Miss Ali? Arlie Matthew? No, she's not there. Okay.
What's her name, ma'am?
Miss Arlie Matthew, or project officer KSWDC.
I'll ask her to unmute. Yeah.
Okay, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me quit.
Sure.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello.
Miss Arlie?
Yes.
Yes. So we have a question. Shall I read it out?
Yeah. Please.
Yes. Okay. So the question goes, during the lockdown with the rise in domestic abuse cases, was the KSWDC involved in helping these women?
Okay. Definitely. Our MD in the speech, in the address, had mentioned about Mitra 181 Women Helpline. So this helpline is a 24/7 helpline which functions from the Technopark. We have women, qualified women in legal as well as social work professionals who are sitting round the clock to listen to members who are calling to the callers. So we received a number of calls during this COVID pandemic regarding domestic violence as well as other issues, psychological as well as counseling related cases. A number of cases were received during this particular period. And continuously we are being addressing such issues with Mitra.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for the response. If there are any more questions, it can be typed down to the chat. And there is one more question.
Sure.
What are the kind of schemes available to transgenders?
Okay. Kerala State Women's Development Corporation has reached out to transgender only to this particular community only very recently, right from 2020. Okay, so we have amended our memorandum to include transgenders as our beneficiaries. As the first step, we have introduced a self-employment loan scheme for transgenders. And through this, they will be able to start up self-employment ventures on their own. They will get amount of up to 3 to 5 lakhs. They can avail loan at a very subsidized interest rate. Okay, and this particular scheme is also collateral free. So it will enable them to take up employment, self-employment that will help them in their livelihood. So this is the scheme that we have introduced as of now. But in terms of welfare and their protection, we are also doing awareness programs, especially among police personnel. It goes by the name Bodhyam. So in that particular awareness program for the police personnel, we have set apart a particular session just for giving awareness on the rights and needs of the transgender community, so that in the intervention level also, they get proper care from the state. So that these are the two initiatives that we have been doing for transgenders as of now. We plan to start up new other programs also, which includes like entrepreneurship training for transgenders.
Okay.
Is there any other question?
Just a minute, ma'am. Okay, all right. So there are no questions as of now. Thank you so much for answering the questions that we put forward to you. We are very glad to have you with us today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Our next speaker for the day is Dr. Nina Joseph, a trustee of Sakhi Women Resource Center. Dr. Nina is a faculty at Loyola Institute for Peace Studies. She serves in the editorial team of Pax Lumina and is associated with Center for Constitutional Academy for Peace and Center for Constitutional Rights Research and Advocacy. She is a retired professor of the Institute of Management in Government Regional Center, Kakinada. She actively pursues her academic interests by contributing to research, presenting papers, and publishing articles in subjects like gender, management, human resources development, disaster management, and decentralized planning. She delivers lectures to corporates, government setups, NUALS, HRLN, IMG, Sakhi, and Kerala Institute of Local Administration. She has also presented a paper on human trafficking in a seminar conducted by National Women's Commission, Kozhikode. Ma'am, I would like to welcome you.
So good afternoon. Such a nice afternoon. How many students are 55 from different disciplines? Okay, at the outset, I would like to thank each and every one of the organizers for giving me this opportunity to interact with young minds. I hope that they will ignite more interest and enthusiasm in seniors like me. And I congratulate the team for organizing this celebration. And it's a very novel way of celebrating. I had been part and parcel of many Women's Day celebrations since say early 80s, but I have never seen such a forum where people are invited to talk about what they are doing for women. So I find this very interesting and innovative. So I was asked to do the lecture in 2 steps. One is on the gender aspect, second is on Sakhi. So I will start with the gender aspects. Am I audible and visible? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So I will share the screen. Okay. So the screen is visible? Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So without much introduction, I will right away go into the subject. I have to stop at 2 o'clock, no? Okay. So patriarchy, I thought I will speak a little about patriarchy, masculinities, violence, women empowerment. Just to give an introduction, because what Sakhi is doing has got a very strong and robust theoretical foundation. Without the theoretical underpinnings, you can do many things, but you will be doing it without awareness, and you will not be able to shift gears responding to the emerging needs of day-to-day life, day-to-day scenario. So I thought I will dwell a little on the theoretical aspect. So I will start with patriarchy. So patriarchy, pater, father, archy rule. Ideology of patriarchy. So ideology of patriarchy is based on certain assumptions. First of all, men are superior. And second assumption and second demand of patriarchy is that women should come under the control for men. Women exist for men. And there is a strict division of labor, what men should do, what women should do. And not only the labor, but the body, sexuality, time, mobility, property, and skills. All these should come under man's control. And another assumption and demand is that institution should be under men's control. So, you know, you just now saw Bindu, she is heading that institution. Things are changing. And in Kerala, we have 14 districts. And out of this, in 9 districts, we have lady collectors. Okay, things are changing, but this is the basic thing to start with. Then rights, roles, rules, everything will be prescribed by men. And resources will be owned and controlled by men. Is it hard? Is it okay? Can you see the slide? Can you see the slide, Shruti?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So, women should be ruled over by men. If women should be ruled over by men, the men should have what type of qualities for the rulers, and what type of qualities should the subjugated person have? So, according to the patriarchy, we are attributing certain characteristics to men so that they can be effective rulers and dominators, and certain other characteristics to women. So just have a glance at it. I am not reading it out. You can see the slide. Just quickly go through that. Very quick glance. Did you read? Quick glance. Okay. So these characteristics are expected of men, and certain other characteristics are expected out of women, so that the ruler and the ruled over can exist peacefully. Coexist peacefully. Peace within inverted commas. And there is patriarchally conditioning is also the socialization at home. Then religion is the in educational institution. Recently, you know that there is a gender advisor for government of Kerala, Anandi. Dr. Anandi had taken that Anganawadi book, and she had deeply analyzed it for gender biases. So even in education, the content of the education, you can see it. And media, I need not elaborate. Then governance systems, we can see. And we know that when a woman seeks justice against violence in a court, the type of intimidating behavior she has to face there. And arts, in the arts and in the customs and rituals also, we can see that. See the type of toys given and the type of notions like thorn and leaf analogy. Then the joy, overjoyed with a son's birth. Things are changing. And still now, this has not changed much except for the new gen. It is slowly changing. women, all the duties, all the domestic chores are not dumped on women these days in the houses of the youngsters, many of the houses of the youngsters. But in my generation, things are not like that. There is a shift, and that is good. But still, majority of the cases, patriarchy prevails. And another thing is that there is systemic violence, not only in the minds of the men. These men and women also have a lot of patriarchal biases. Just because you are born with a body of woman, it doesn't mean that you are against patriarchy. 52% of women in Kerala endorse domestic violence. During the question answer session, I will clarify it in Kerala. And there is systemic violence. You know, Bobde, Chief Justice of India, he was asking a rapist, why don't you marry this victim? So what about the sensitivity? Chief Justice of India is making that remark. And also you can see that when somebody complains about sexual assault, the entire society and the so-called leaders will come out in doing slut shaming. And also, if a male is sexually assaulting a female, the females of the same class is receiving with bouquet the alleged rapist who is coming on bail. He is not acquitted, he is coming on bail. So these biases are deeply entrenched, very deeply entrenched. And people, it doesn't end with the house, it coming out in the open, in the workplace and in the public place, this replicates. And women and men should do some discerning. See, when Sati, some legal 1829, it was abolished, but in 1987, when some new amendments were also brought in, stronger aspects were brought in, 20,000 women took out on the street saying that we want the right to observe Sati. And you can also see the hijab issue. It has a lot of layers of meaning. But although, and these are the women who are protesting. And there are many aspects. It is multi-dimensional. During question answer session, if somebody is interested, I will answer. But what is the impact? Many women are losing the opportunity to study. So women should be questioning, why a ritual? Why a custom? Who made it? Is it made by the religious leader who on the first place instituted the religion? Or was it incorporated later when the religion became institutionalized? Who made these customs? And some of these customs and rituals need to be challenged. And in, and masculinities. I was talking about two types of qualities and masculinities, because men should have certain commanding qualities. So they celebrate that and they go to the extreme. And men feel that if they don't exhibit and continue to prove to themselves and to others that they have these qualities, there will be something wrong. So a sort of violence happens. So patriarchy is a hierarchy. So the hierarchy should not be disturbed. If the hierarchy is disturbed, if a woman raises her voice or if a woman demands equality, then you can do some violence and re-establish that hierarchy. So there is a link between hierarchy and violence and masculinities, violence and patriarchy. And it doesn't end there. This violent behavior, it is also taken out on nature. You know, ONV Kurup written Bhumikku Oru Charamageetham. And he was giving an analogy. I am not going deep into that, like a son raping the mother. So it's like, it's a sort of rape. That rape means not the literal meaning, but this also. So he is clamoring, he is speaking against the violent tendencies with which we rape the nature. And you know, the toxic masculinity, hyper masculinity, you know who is it? And I need not to describe it. Right now, we are going through that phase. The toxic masculinities, the demonstration of masculinities, and the feeling of adhinivesha swabhavam, that is very evident. So masculinity, toxic masculinity is very dangerous. Then coming to the ownership of resources, women in Kerala, National Family Health Survey shows that only 38% of women own a house jointly or collectively, jointly or alone, while 77% of men own a house. Regarding the land, only 15% of women own land in Kerala, while 35% of men own land. And the number of MPs we are sending to the parliament, number of MPs in the parliament, it has never crossed 15%. Now it is 14%, slightly plus. So the political representation is not there. Now I talked about patriarchy. What is the opposite of patriarchy? Is it matriarchy? And Kamala Basin, a renowned feminist who passed away recently, she always quote this. Opposite of patriarchy is not matriarchy. Opposite of patriarchy is, can you make a guess? Opposite of patriarchy is equality. It is equality. So what is equality? Left side. I am treating men and women alike. No difference in treatment. What happens on the left side? No difference in treatment for the baby, for his elder brother, and for the father. Everybody is treated equally. What is the outcome? Inequality. So equality of treatment is not the issue, but the issue is what we want is equality of outcome. So some preferential treatment should be given according to the differences. Am I clear? We are aiming at not equality of treatment but equality of outcome. And not equality of treatment but equality of outcome. And we work with. So what is the solution? Work with men on masculinities. Make them to challenge their masculinities and examine them. Do some introspection. Why do they always feel so overstressed with preserving the soul and demonstrating masculinities? And work with women to empower them. That is the philosophy of Sagi. And violence, no resources, you become vulnerable, then violence will be there, then patriarchy will become stronger, again no resource, vulnerability, like that it becomes a vicious cycle. And empowerment. What is empowerment? I said that no access and control over resources. Women doesn't own land. She does not have political power. Tangible resources and intangible resources women lack. So, and ideology. Who writes, who decides what should be the customs in a religion? Who designs rituals? So all these give a cue. All these create biases. And empowerment is breaking biases. It is participation in decision making, including governance. And it is active presence of women everywhere. And your principal was saying, director was saying. So I finished with this. Any questions on this? Did you get the link? This is the basic philosophy based on which Sagi moves forward.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that informative and enriching talk. It was very thought-provoking, so I'm sure the audience would have some questions regarding this. We're open to questions. Can be typed in the chat box.
Then we have presentation on Sagi as well. Okay. If there are some questions, I will answer and then move forward. If there is no question, shall we move to the next slide?
Okay, ma'am. Then we can take questions together in the end.
Yeah, that would be better. So the other PPT I am trying. So elusive. Close this. So now about Sagi. So this is Sagi. How you see Sagi, the physical part of it. Okay, can you see Sagi? It is in Trivandrum, this place, not our own building. So introduction to the organization.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the interruption. So we
Okay.
see all the slides at the same time. Is it possible to view it one by
Oh.
one?
I am
Slideshow mode,
trying.
maybe.
Okay. Let me see if it will work. Slideshow usually. Yeah. Now is it okay?
No, ma'am.
You're
Yes,
not-
now we can see it.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Sagi, as the name denotes, is a woman's friend who supports and encourages women and women's collectives with gender perspective in all their activities. I talked about some basic aspects, no? So all include, we are 5 trustees and there are 3 staff, and all of us are gender sensitive and we firmly believe in what I presented earlier. Okay. So we believe in women and women collectives, and we think of incorporating a gender perspective in all our activities. Not patriarchy, opposite of patriarchy, that is equality. I am designated as the chairperson of Sagi, but I never introduced myself as that, because that is just a role. We have the founder person. Her designation is secretary. She is Eliamma Vijayan. She is the soul of our organization. I just discharge certain say duties and responsibilities. So non-hierarchical organization. So we believe not in patriarchy but in equality. With gender perspectives in all our activities. Sagi envision a society based on political, economic, social, environmental, and gender justice. Bindu was talking about climate change, no? So we believe, because it's like there is a forest fire there is a fire on one tree. It is not the tree I am interested in. I cannot stay away like that. If I neglect that fire, although it is not my favorite tree, what will happen? The entire forest will be destroyed. So all these types of justices are very closely intertwined and interlinked. Okay, so we believe that to treat issues holistically, not as a part. And approach of Sagi, that is, we know Kerala society is hierarchical, patriarchal. Some of you may disagree with me. You can of course raise your arguments and concerns. Hierarchical, patriarchal, caste ridden. You might say in Kerala there is nothing like that. Class ridden, ecologically insensitive society. So that society we want to change to democratic, participatory, egalitarian, ecologically sensitive society. So that is our approach. Hierarchy, not patriarchy, but equality. Not hierarchy, but egalitarianism and ecological sensitivity. How to achieve this? The process is with the participation of women and also the marginalized persons. When decisions are made, the marginalized person should be included. So Shruti was talking about inclusiveness in her introductory remarks. So the participation of the women and marginalized is extremely important. And what is Sagi's role? To become a catalyst between groups, not only at national level and international level, and also at the state level. Do you get the connection of the theory and the practice? lot of ideas are emerging globally. United Nations is coming out with International Women's Day in 1975. Human rights document is there 1998, and then CEDAW is the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Beijing Conference, forward-looking strategies, and whatnot. Many things are happening at national level. But what about the women at the grassroots level? So if they are not able to enjoy the benefit of all these developments and all these thoughts and all these new ideas happening high up there is no use. It should reach. So SAGI is trying to be a bridge and organize. So what do? We organize and participate in debates and discourses related to women's human rights, gender and feminism, and sustainable development. Okay. And vision is gender justice. Mission is rights-based approach, not welfare approach. Welfare is, oh, you are poor, we will dole out something to you. That is not the approach. That is welfare approach. That is sympathy. Out of sympathy, you give out doles. No, it is gender justice. Justice means, the very word means, it is equality, freedom, and peace. Okay. And vision is to work towards an equitable and just society based on equality, equity, and peace. There is no discrimination, no exploitation. Mission is to reach out to women, men, and youth from different and diverse backgrounds and varying interests with a desire to transform communities, organizations. We work not alone with individual women who are subjected to many atrocities and who are subjected to many injustices. We work with communities as a whole. We work with government, and we work with institutions of the government. Is there gender justice in the institutions? We do institutional analysis, and there are techniques for that also. And objectives, I am not going deep into that. We have a document that 25 years. We are reaching 25 years of our existence. So in that document, all these are given in details. Structure is, it is registered as a Travancore Charitable Trust Societies Act in 1998. We have 5 trustees. Mrs. Eliama Vijayan, she is our soul. She is the founder. Then Mercy Alexander, she also was the right from the inception. Then I am there. Then there is an advocate, Sandhya Janardhanan. Then Leda Jayagopal, architect, is there. And there are a big group, a large group of volunteers and friends. 3 staff, and we are at Trivandrum. Again, I repeat, non-hierarchical in nature. And initiatives, bridging the perspectives, because global perspectives are there, local perspectives are there. We are bridging that. Capacity building, gendering governance, the way things are happening in the government. We want to incorporate gender perspectives into that. Prevention and interventions on gender-based violence, life skill education for adolescents, and networking and campaigns. And we have rich experience working with marginalized communities. We are focusing on marginalized communities, poor people, the subalterns, and we are responding to emerging needs. Rather than in an organization, we have corporates, we have vision, mission, but the SAGI is a slightly different approach. We have vision and mission, but that at the same time, we are flexible. We try to accommodate and respond to the emerging needs of the society. And library and documentation, we have around 8,000 books, 72 journals, newsletters, newspaper clippings, video cassettes, CDs. We publish books, publication of training manuals, because many people don't know how to do gender training. So we have manuals and publication of booklets, posters. When prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, we have posters for that. For domestic violence also, we published posters and we distributed it so that people could display it. And the books are on gender related and feminism topics. And library is user friendly. It is computerized, and we follow feminist classification system. Very easy to get books from that. Many have benefited for the PhD thesis. For many of the project work, they come and refer the library. And we prepare materials in local language, not in English. English also we prepare some, but majority of that is in local language, because we basically work with the marginalized. Initially, I said the approach is that participation of women and the marginalized. We should conscientize them in the language that is understandable to them. And there are a lot of publications that is in the page 20 and 21 of that. I am not going deep into that. Then capacity building programs, many gender training programs we have conducted. I was a participant in that before I joined as a trustee in one of the gender trainings. And I have gained lot of insights from that. Leadership training is there when one-third women could come into the local bodies. So we gave a lot of training for the women panchayat presidents. I was working in Institute of Management in government. So gender was rather a new area there. So all this knowledge and wisdom and information which I get from SAGI, I was able to take it to my organization and conduct many training programs and studies based on that foundation of the knowledge. Then life skill, we work with the youth, not only with marginalized, but among the marginalized, we give more attention to women, and we also give a lot of attention to adolescents because there are a lot of problems. And there are books on masculinity, capacity development programs on masculinities. We teach men regarding masculinities. Then women and health, violence against women. And when a new acts come, we give training on that, Domestic Violence Act. Then sexual harassment at workplace act, national rural employment guarantee act. We focus on capacity building, and also we give training on even issues like misuse of communication technology. It is a big problem now, cyber attacks. Even in Ukraine, Russia, the cyber attack is the new form of warfare. Capacity is building is one of our strengths. So we train corporates, we give training on sexual harassment, police training academy, and in panchayats we conduct lot of training for NGOs, many trainings we conduct. Then in governance, we give special attention not only in the state government, but also in the local bodies. In fact, we have actual work, we do a lot on panchayats. So that's the grassroots governance system. And there we have some sort of control also. So we give capacity training program for elected representatives and women gender resource center. When a panchayat at the government, they will say each panchayat should have a gender resource center. They don't know how to go about doing that. So SAGI steps in and guides them. And each panchayat, they should have Jagrata Samadhi, the government order. They don't know how to do it. Of course, government, we assist government in implementing. Without a proper knowledge and how to go about doing it, nothing can be done. And also we critique development from a gender perspective. And Bindu was talking about the climate change, and we also deal with such topics, and we have a special eye, and we look very specifically and focusedly at how all this will impact on women. Then action research on selected panchayats. Not only we give training on Jagrata Samadhis, we help them to put up Jagrata Samadhis, handhold and export them. Then women and violence, gender-based planning. We help them to do gender-based planning. So in every panchayat, I have to develop a plan. It is 5 minutes past. Can I take 10 more minutes? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Please continue.
Okay. And we help them to do gender budgeting. If anybody has any doubt, you can ask. Question answer session, budgeting, and then also auditing. We do a auditing in the panchayat whether everything is going in the gender friendly way. Then women status study. So planning, you need data. So in data means if you want to do something for the women, you should know first of all you should start from what is the condition of the women there, and where are they lacking, and what should panchayat do to what are the problems, and what projects the panchayat can bring in order to solve that problem. So Bindu was talking about the sanitary pad project. In one panchayat, we had that issue. We identify the projects based on the needs of the women, not from the imagination, but evidence-based interventions we do. Then SAGI, okay. And then life skill education, because we focus on the youth, adolescents, and the life skills, all type of life skills, communication, leadership, and also sexuality. They should know how to handle sex-based aggressions, everything. And in Malayalam manual, and also in sex education about the body, we have 2 publications for the boys, body of the boy, growing up boy and growing up girl. What are the changes happening in the body? Then adolescent health research, Then we also do take classes in colleges on request. We went to St. Teresa's College, and they were working with one panchayat. So they wanted to know how this gender dimensions and gender perspectives can be incorporated in St. Teresa work of the St. Teresa's when they are working with panchayats. And gender-based violence prevention. We focus on prevention. People should know the prospective victim as a support system. And Saji is the. So I remember one of my domestic case saying, in her neighborhood, a man used to beat the wife, and while beating, he used to say, "Ninne രക്ഷിക്കാൻ ആരടി വരുന്നത്? Who will come to your rescue?" So that question is a major question. So now things are changing, and many support systems are entering. Stepping in to protect women. So Sagi used to be that earlier. Awareness programs and campaigns, and we have leaflets, posters, exhibition of paper, then public meetings, programs, etc. And we also research, action research, collaboration with other organizations, we do research. And in one major NGO, we did a research on safe city. The public places should be safe for women. We did a research. I was also part of that research. How to make cities more safe. First of all, investigating whether the cities are unsafe. What are the hot spots in the cities? Then and about the condition of the city, and the safety pin. One app also is there. So somebody can download that app and see in which place it is safe, where there is lighting, during the night hours women back out traveling. So which are the red spots to be avoided? I don't know at present how much it is being used, but we launched that. Then gender, citizenship and governance. Earlier I said participation is the key. Women should participate everywhere, including governance. The marginalized people should participate, and the ideas and the requirements of the children and youth also should be incorporated into governance. So we conducted gender, citizenship and governance programs, a research program. Then women status study in 4 panchayats we held them, and many research projects we have undertaken. And certain campaigns. One is 1 billion rising. What is this 1 billion rising? 6 billion was a few years back, 6 billion was the world population. Half of it is women. So that makes it 3 billion. So research study shows that 1/3 of women have faced violence in their life. 1/3 of women. So 1/3 of 3 billion is 1 billion. So there was a campaign. It is an international campaign. So we are linking with international campaign, and we organized a very big thing in Maharaja's ground, and a lot of people participated. So all these are symbolic, and during, and we also organize 6-day activism every year from November 25th to December 10th. So fortnight to fight against, to combat violence against women. So we observe that every year. Then safe travel week also. Then networking for movement building, micro level organization, NGOs. Networking is very important at state level and also at national level and international level. We have linkages. Then many eminent visitors have come to visit, and this is Eliamma Vijay. She is the founder person. And how it started? For 16 years, she was working in fisheries sector. Fisheries means very backward area usually. We boast about favorable sex ratio, but what happens in fisheries area? The sex ratio is not favorable. Boys outnumber girls. And the government used to flaunt the Kerala model of development. But when we come to grassroots level and examine, we know that there is lot of inequities and inequalities. So lack of information, many people, she felt that there is lack of information on patriarchy and feminism. So there are many everydayness oppression is not there, that is not actually brought out. And there are also many conventional gender, misleading conventional gender indicators. Women are high on literacy, women have more life expectancy, and the maternal mortality rate is low. Amrita people will be knowing. And according to NFHS surveys, infant mortality rate is low. But these are misleading indicators. Oh, we are very happy about all these indicators. But beyond that, when you look at the violence data and power participation of women, we have to hang our head in shame. So welfare approach is not enough. We want a rights-based approach. And in 1975, actually SAGI started in 1996. We know that 1975 was declared as International Women's Day. Before that, history, mid-80s in Kerala, several women's groups came together. 1993, Ajita's Anveshi started. SAGI started in 1996. Before that, these were some initiatives. 1996, some feminist groups sat together to prepare a draft. And while doing that, I was not associated at that stage. They felt that there are a lot of gaps. Then Eliama received some 10 lakh fellowship. She could have taken it to her home. She did not. But she invested that for this cause because she was exposed to all this during her tenure in the fishery sector. And also due to the work done earlier to that. When she received the fellowship, she thought that she will invest that. Then it was formed in 96. It was registered in 1998. Journey began. When the journey began, there was no models. And history, during that time, when in and around the time SAGI started, there were a lot of sexual crimes, ice cream parlor case, Uriyanelli case, that case. Then Tsunami 2004 also SAGI stepped in to serve them. Then learning opportunities. She got learning opportunities in Amsterdam. So she was able to take those global perspectives into Kerala. And many students come for internship here. And also during this flood also, we had a program. So I said that we respond to emerging needs of the society. When Kerala was devastated with floods, what happened is that we constructed houses. We selected certain panchayats and we repaired houses which were badly damaged. And we also constructed new houses. Government had programs, but in those programs, only those who have land, 3 sets of land, will get houses. But SAGI, also found ways and means for constructing houses to even those who did not have land. And 10 lakh budget houses were constructed with participation. They were also participated. Another initiative was that after the flood, income generating, many people lost their livelihood. So we were able to rehabilitate them by some of the people who lost their cultivation, who lost their crops. We gave them livelihood through agricultural projects, rice cultivation, some beekeeping, poultry, goat rearing, and again cattle rearing, plumbing training for plumbing. That is where women usually do not enter into that field. We were able to do give training on plumbing, and for that we networked with Archana Women Center. And Archana Women Center, they are already technically equipped. And using our contacts and networking, we were able to arrange training there and wiring training, mobile service, electronic equipment service, all for women. And women shaping narratives in media and entertainment, WCC, lot of nowadays we hear about Bhavana and women cinema, women in cinema collectives. So all this we were supporting. And yeah, that is it. And I don't know whether some more slides are there. Okay, we will end up here. So that is a quick tour through activities of SAGI. I know that it was done very quickly. I don't know how much you have imbibed, but the idea was to give a glimpse. If you want to go deeper, you can. Then we have a website, SAGI website. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Can we go ahead with some questions, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, there is a question in the chat that says whether you could elaborate on the research where women in Kerala endorse domestic violence.
Women in Kerala and domestic violence. So, not the study conduct. Yeah, very interesting. In 4 panchayats, we conducted that study. and the finding was very startling. We boast about Kerala model of development and women literacy rate, we boast. And we also boast about the maternal, all these indicators, MMR, IMR. Okay. But what happened is that 24% of women say that they face gender violence, domestic violence. And in one of the panchayats, the panchayat president and the panchayat somebody refused to publish that because it is shameful for them. And very interesting. And the National Family Health Survey, the recent survey, 9.9% of women face domestic violence. And again, 86% of women who face domestic violence, they don't approach anybody. And out of the 14% who tell somebody, the 10% take their complaints only 10% take their complaints to police, women protection officer, etc. So exactly the same trends we were able to identify in 90s. Same trend. So National Family Health Survey endorses what we did. Are you satisfied? Do you want to know something more?
No, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the
Okay.
response. And there is one more question. What could be the reasons for low ownership of land in Kerala for women, despite being a culturally matrilineal society?
Okay. Matrilineal society, it applies only to Nayars. Even there, actually, then Nayars were only trustees. This was owned by temples. They were actually not owners, but they could run it and they could have all authority over it. Understand? So matrilineal society is there. Even in matrilineal society, the males, that is the brother of the lady, used to dominate many times. Of course, it was better than patriarchal society. No, actually, it was matrilineal. To what extent it was matriarchal is a question which we have to debate. Anandi, the gender advisor, it was she in early 90s. She did some research on it. It was from her I first heard. I was also having the same impression. It is matriarchal, but she, with the research, proved that it was not actually matriarchal. Women are having lower ownership because one reason is patriarchy. What does patriarchy say? Women are owned by men. Women should be controlled by men. Women are the property of men. If women are the property of men, why should a property have property? No need. And our legislations, Mary Roy, I know all of you have heard about Mary Roy. And in Kerala, we had 3 different laws earlier. In central, in Travancore, where Kottayam side, where Mary Roy was fighting that case, Aymanam, that area, the share of the Christian woman in property was that 1/4 of what a brother gets, or 5,000, whichever is less. Early 90s, 1928 or something. So even the legislations were like that. That is, I am talking about but from Mary Roy fought it, that is another thing. Why don't women have property? Okay, I am coming to that. From 1925, there was a law. 1928, this Christian laws 90s, but 1952 also, there was a law saying that equal property right for men and women. Actually, the law was there, but the women were not empowered to use that law. Between 1952 and 1986, Mary Roy fought the case. One woman fought the case. And what happened was that she got justice in the lower court, but the opposite party took the case to the Supreme Court. Konjunnu tulliyal chattiyolam, muttolam pinniyum tulliyal chattiyolam. She did not have the wherewithal to fight the case in Supreme Court. That case was lost. So Mary Roy, in 1986, she was very determined because she was a divorcee, and after the divorce she came, she did not have nothing, she was devastated. And even the house where she used to live, the brother said that you have no right, only right for women. And very, I have a shame, but I will reveal it. When Mary Roy's judgment was released, some of the religious leaders in Kottayam, gathered the Christian men and Christian men who are having daughters. You write a will, otherwise your sons will not get equal share. And not equal share, the sons will be economically devastated, because the thinking in Central Travancore was that only male need to inherit the property. The law was also like that earlier, but after 1950s, the law changed, but the women did not have the empowerment to use that law. Okay. And when the women started to become empowered, the religious leaders stepped in to assist to preserve that gender hierarchy. Hierarchy should be preserved. It should not be threatened. It should be like this always. So now you got some clue, no? Okay, there is Hindu marriage, Hindu Succession Act, Christian Succession Act, all these things. There are many legal aspects also. I am not an expert in that, but and there is also no time. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And there is also a message from our HOD, Dr. Geetanjali ma'am, who has said that very inspiring to listen to you, ma'am. Clarity and highly appreciable ground level initiatives.
Thank you. Somebody was asking about alcoholism.
Yes, ma'am. Question from, ma'am, can you see it? Are you able to?
I saw it, then it vanished. No, I can.
Shall I read it out, ma'am?
No, I will go to the chat. No, you read it out. Read it out better.
Ma'am, so it says alcohol in the male in the house is a main factor that disrupts a woman's equality, rights, and effort for dignity. What are your thoughts about what can be done about this? Has Sakhi contributed in this area?
Okay. Sakhi's stand from the inception was that alcohol is not the reason. Why? Non-alcoholics also beat the wives. All the alcoholics do not beat the wives. And even those alcoholics who beat the wives, they don't beat the Panchayat president, the Pujari, the Maulavi or the priest, or even after entering the house, they don't beat their own father and mother, and sometimes even children. All the beating is very focusedly directed to wives, most of the time. There are also alcoholic people who fight with everybody, even police. So who is responsible? How can you shift the responsibility? How can you shift the blame to the alcohol which is in the stomach? It is not alcohol. It is the hierarchy, gender hierarchy and the patriarchy, because she is easily available. If I have some frustration, I can take it out on her. So alcohol may be an intervening factor. Those who are inclined to do research, it is not the cause, but it could be an intervening variable. Maybe. And there are also something more to say about that. Anyhow.
We'll have one last question. It says, does research and gender audit by Sakhi look into or take up issues like pay gap in Kerala? Also, is there scope for discussion regarding paid housework in Kerala?
Yeah. Paid housework, some feminists were clamoring for that, but we are a bit, because if you say women should be paid for housework, then it becomes the legitimate duty of the woman to do the housework. So there is a trap in that. So we did not take any open stand on that, but it is a bit tricky question. Actually, we are for our idea is that it is the house jointly owned by everybody. Not women are not owning that, but everybody lives together in that house. It is everybody's duty to do that. And if you start paying the woman again, she becomes an employee of the husband or the powerful male member. So which again the situation, patriarchy is being reinforced. And then another part of the question.
And the first part says that whether does research and gender audit by Sakhi look into or take up issues like pay gap?
Okay. To my knowledge, before I came, we discussed that issue. Through research, we have not taken it up, to the best of my knowledge. And that is a very interesting thing. One of my trainees was telling from North India, one IAS officer came for training in IMG, and he was telling this equal pay, when that enactment came, they bypassed it very beautifully. So they divided men and women into pairs. So the women were saying, oh, we need not have equal pay. Let the man take a higher pay. And so if the pay is 200 to 200 each, so 400 rupees, they will give women 150 and the rest 350 to the man. So that is how they managed. So even if the legislations are, this Dowry Prohibition Act, how much anniversary we are celebrating? 1961. 39 plus 22. 50, such a old Muttashi actor, but nothing is happening. The mindset should change. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. No, ma'am. I think we've answered all the questions.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this informative talk, and also for taking out the time to sit and answer all our questions. There is also a comment that says it's an interesting session, and thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you again, and thank you for the brilliant question and the immaculate comparing and planning. Sudhi might have called me many times and sent messages and mails. I know, I appreciate the work put into that, and that shows the importance given to the team, and I'm very happy about it. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Shall I leave?
Yes, ma'am. If you can stay for the rest of the, almost finishing up, wrapping up, you can stay for the rest of it, that would be great also.
Okay.
Yes. So, as part of celebrating International Women's Day, the Department of Clinical Psychology conducted a poster competition for all the students of AIIMS. Posters were invited based on the year's theme, Break the Bias, Fight for Equality. We received very impressive entries for the competition from our enthusiastic students, and I shall display the same on screen. Are the slides visible? Okay. So the entries that we've received are as follows.
Aruna, I don't think it's moving.
Ma'am, now it's on slide 3.
No, it's not moving. Maybe you'll have to take it off slideshow. Yeah,
Now?
this is better. Yeah. Yeah, it's working.
Entry 1. Entry 2. I'll also go on to announcing the winners as well. The first place goes to this poster. The second place. And the third place. I thank and appreciate all the students who participated for the event. Certificate of participation shall be provided to all the contestants. Also, participants are requested to fill in a link that will be posted on the chat and which requires your basic details. Also, prize winners can collect their Amazon coupons from the department. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Danya Chandran, Assistant Professor of the Department of Clinical Psychology, AIMS Kochi, for rendering the vote of thanks. Ma'am, over to you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a wonderful place for all of us to be, where we have all met together to commemorate Women's Day on an international basis, the International Women's Day, and celebrate it and observe it in our own little ways. Like we have been hearing throughout and during various discussions, every day is Women's Day. And it's wonderful to have women, men, all of us amongst us. Anybody who believes in the cause can work for it. So with this note, I would like to thank all of you for joining in for the deliberations, the discussions, and the talks today. May I first place on record my gratitude and thanks to the institution and the management, RMD and the principal, Colonel Dr. Vishal Marwaha was with us. He joined us for the initial part of the program. So I would like to place my thank you and gratitude for allowing us to organize this program. Speakers for the day, you have shared such wonderful insights and thoughts with us. Srimati Bindu VC from KSWDC and Dr. Meena Joseph, a trustee from Sakhi. It was so insightful to listen to all of you, and it feels so rejuvenating to be able to take back ideas on what we can work with, how we can bring about small changes which could have huge impacts, much more than what we might even envision, I think. So that it was really wonderful to listen to that. All participants who have participated and joined in the deliberations, listened to us. It was so wonderful to have all of you. Thank you all for finding time to join us during your busy working days, in spite of whatever other requirements might come out of your time. Participants who shared their posters with us, thank you all for putting in your entries, and congratulations to all the participants and also to the winners. May I also place on record my gratitude to the graphics, the audiovisual, and the IT services of the Institute for delivering their support in making this program a success. They have been throughout with us and they've helped us in coordinating so many parts of it. To the department, our HOD, Dr. Gitanjali Natarajan, and all faculty who have joined hands to be here. Students who play such an integral part of our institute, and for Shruti for taking the hand forward and taking the program further ahead. Much thanks to all of us and all of you here. I think this is a good place where we can think of ways to form enduring relationships so that we can take forward the three key aspects that Dr. Nina was speaking to us about: equality, equity, freedom, and peace. And I think in our own small ways, we will all be finding ways to take forward this message of breaking the bias towards better International Women's Days. Thank you all. As I come to the end of the vote of thanks, may I also request all of you to be available for a group photograph and to please switch on your videos so that we can take a photograph and share. In times of online connectivity, I think this is the best that's possible. So requesting all of you to please turn on your videos.
Should I stage for the participants?
Definitely, ma'am. You're part of us.
I think we have taken a screenshot. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So with that, we come to the end of the event. Kindly fill in the Google Forms that's posted in the chat. Also, I would like to thank all the participants of the webinar. And I would like to conclude by believing that collectively the world can all #break the bias. Thank you all. Have a nice day. This is Aruna signing off.